our broadband usage and broadband access has increased. And of course, we are very thankful to many of the international IT companies and telecom companies such as Telenor, Accenture, that have come to Bangladesh because they have gone outside and told the world their success stories, and hopefully you will do so more today, which then help the rest of the world know what are the advantages of coming to Bangladesh, that it is a very, very attractive destination. Next, please. Of course, none of this would be possible, one, without electricity, as I said, but the second backbone of Digital Bangladesh is communications. Most of you are probably not aware, but 5 years ago when we started with our Digital Bangladesh plan, the Ministry of ICT was a division under the Ministry of Science, which it was considered more theoretical, more, as we say, there's a difference between theoretical physics, and I'm a student of physics myself as well, so theoretical physics and I myself pushed to have the IT ministry taken out of science and put with telecom, because ICT stands for Information and Communications Technology. That is why we use that acronym. It is combined. You cannot have one without the other. And so with that regard, our mobile has played a very, very crucial role. Bangladesh is one of the few countries in the world, and I get asked this a lot of times, so what's your mobile coverage? You need universal coverage. You need to provide universal access. And I say, well, now we have it, thanks to Telenor, thanks to Robi and Banglalink and Airtel. Bangladesh is one of the few countries that has 99% of landmass covered with mobile telephone service. 125 million mobile subscribers. One of the lowest tariffs in the world, which I know the telcos are not too happy about, but our citizens are very, very happy. 3G network launched in 2013, and we hope to launch 43 million mobile internet users at present and growing very rapidly. And we hope to bring LTE and 4G. We'll have the auctions by next year for spectrum, and we're hoping that the operators will be able to very soon after that. Increased broadband penetration has directly contributed to our GDP growth. In fact, studies show that every 10% increase in broadband penetration adds 1.34 to our GDP growth rate. So as you've seen, our GDP, our growth rate, we've maintained it at about 7%. And our broadband penetration has been growing at almost 10% for the last 5 years. And we hope to accelerate that growth further. We want to unleash the full potential of mobile broadband. It is not possible to connect every village in Bangladesh with wired networks, and it's not necessary either. In most cases, last mile solutions are being provided by wireless, and they can continue to be, especially as the technology is progressing so rapidly. 4G, LTE almost obviates the need for landline wired networks, at least for individual use. And in the future, whatever technology comes down the pipeline will really diminish the necessity of wired networks altogether. At least that is my hope. The country still does need more investment in the telecommunications infrastructure. As I mentioned earlier, that I myself am hopeful that the mobile operators will accelerate their 3G rollout outside of the cities. And I'm hoping that once 4G auctions happen, that they will roll out the network quite rapidly. As it stands today, we have over 25,000 government offices alone throughout the country that are in need of broadband and that do not have wired internet available. Our government, of course, is in the process of running fiber optic cables to every union. We've taken a project. Our goal is to connect all, to have fiber optic cable running to all 4,500 of Bangladesh's unions by the year 2018 to 2019. In this regard, one of the initiatives I had taken, we increased the definition of broadband. 6 years ago, broadband in Bangladesh was defined as 256 kilobits. That's it. I came in and I said, no, this is ridiculous. That's not broadband at all. There was a lot of resistance. I wanted to define it as 2 megabits. We finally agreed on 1 megabit, and that's what it was defined as. However, as you may be aware, I live in the US. The Federal Communications Commission in the US recently raised the definition of broadband. In the US, it is now 25 megabit. I have already discussed it with our BTRC chairman. We've decided that we are going to redefine it to 5 megabits here in Bangladesh very soon. And one of the, in terms of future plans, and this has been a demand from the mobile industry, and I will say here that these slides were actually prepared partly by Telenor, so this last point here, which was put in, but I am happy to share with all of you, and I'm sure it'll make Telenor as well as the other mobile operators happy, is that we are in the process of revamping our telecommunications policy, our national telecommunications policy, and one of the fundamental tenets of that will be technology neutrality. There will no longer be a need to define what technology needs to be used. We want to keep technology open so that you can, and of course, in return, we hope that you will adopt 4G, whether it's FDD, TDD, 5G, as rapidly as possible on whatever frequency bands you hold that are available to you. Bangladesh, telecom, infrastructure, and electricity have really transformed the lives of common citizens of Bangladesh. Our goal has been to take this country forward in every aspect. And I'm happy to say that has been tremendously successful, the IT sector, but in every sector, there has been an absolute transformation in Bangladesh. 6 years ago, severe shortage of electricity and IT industry simply wasn't even possible. I'm sure all the mobile operators here will testify. They had to run most of their base stations off generators half the time. They could not count on reliable power. Today, I'd be very surprised if they said they even have generators at most of their base stations. We no longer have a shortage of power. Roads, rails, bridges, education. We are now leading South Asia in education. Poverty, food self-sufficiency, you name it. Bangladesh has roared ahead. We have achieved most of our Millennium Development Goals ahead of schedule, and we are the only country in the world to have met or exceeded all of our Millennium Development Goals set by the United Nations. And last bit of news that I would like to share with you, as Basis President Shamim Hassan, we are in the process, I myself have been in consultations with our Securities and Exchange Commissions. We are in the process of very quickly, hopefully I've been assured it will happen this month, if not by the end of next month, open up a new policy to allow direct foreign investment in our Dhaka Stock Exchange, to have foreign mutual funds operating directly in the Dhaka Stock Exchange, so that we can bring in increasing foreign investment, which will then be available as a source of capital for investment both in the telecom and digitization IT sector, but in general as well. And this is a first for Bangladesh. We are also in the process, which we hope will happen by the end of this year, of the Securities and Exchange Commission is looking at and exploring how to establish this, a small to medium cap exchange specifically for the IT industry. Our traditional stock exchange is geared towards large companies. That is not necessarily applicable to all, and especially the IT sector, which do not necessarily have large capital investment. A software company or a website which may even have million intellectual property and human capital. So to enable them to raise capital from the stock market, we are in the process of developing a small cap exchange that exists in many other countries. With that, I would like to thank you all for coming, and I would like to thank everyone, and especially all the foreign IT and telecom companies that have been in Bangladesh for a while, that have come to Bangladesh. I would like to thank you all for promoting Bangladesh and sharing our development and our IT development story. And we hope that this Digital Investment Summit will be successful, that we will continue this, and that we will meet all of or exceed all of our targets in the IT industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Guest, for your inspiring speech. We sincerely hope we can take Bangladesh forward with your vision and guidance, and we hope to see more great things from you in the near future. It is my pleasure now to invite the keynote speaker from Telenor Group, Mr. John Frederick Baxter, President and CEO of Telenor, for his keynote presentation. Mr. Baxter.
Yeah, thank you. And becoming probably a kind of challenge in this digitalized world. So it seems to be working well. Thank you. Yeah, Your Excellency, what can I say after this? Because you basically said most of it. You said a lot of things that basically also is part of my presentation. And you were pointing to very important metrics on what has happened 8 years, as your slide described. And we recognize that. And we also recognize that the connectivity part of it, coming from the mobile operator side, is a very important platform to see the value creation that also can happen in the digital space. Value-added services and valuable services into the hands of consumers, but also value-added to the extent that it creates a whole new industry over the same period of years. And I will try to show you this. I've been CEO of Telenor now for close to 30 years. So I've seen the development of what you were speaking about in many countries. See it happens. I'm also the chairman of GSMA, which is an industry organization for the whole of the mobile operator community at global basis. So we address also ecosystem questions within the interplay and interconnectivity between operators as such, but also the relationship to the vendor side, as well as to the growing OTT side, which is coming up. I clearly see that the ambitions that you pointed to is also being addressed to in many other countries. So what are the advantages then Bangladesh to succeed at a higher speed, at a higher rate, and to grasp the opportunities, not necessarily ahead of, but also other societies that also have ambitions in this space. Why is then Bangladesh having some extra fuel in order to take, let's say, a fair position in this, fair market share, and even beyond a fair market share? What are these elements? So I'll try to touch upon those as well. ICT impact is very, very strong. The ICT impact on a number of areas in the societies were also pointed to you in your presentation. But I want to start bottom left here, because the younger part of the population is basically the main drivers for new digital concepts to happen. These are the most eager users. They adopt services at a much higher rate, and forgive me to say this, than the average age in this community. Kids are learning this very, very fast, and they are coming up like a living customer service desk for homes, because the kids are the ones that helps you to these things to happen. It's so with me as well, so I'm no exception in that case. And in this country, when we have engaged youth around connectivity competitions, pointing to the educational part of this, you're drilling into another very important area, namely the potential of broaden the educational base through this connectivity platform that is coming up. And it's quite clear that all the community centers that has been established is contributing to this speed, and that the connectivity supplied by operators also do this in the same way. So let's up left here, enhancing education. Definitely, the potential is huge, and you can bring education into corners where education level have not been at this level before. And people are always hungry for a new educational level. That also happens all over the place. Then bringing government closer to people. Plenty of examples were displayed. New examples are coming forward. So there is an obvious service level that comes from government if you use digitalization correctly and smartly, as well as from the consumer side to make things easier. And the very best examples that we had here were visa applications in the simplest forms could be done from the community centers that were established some years back. Took a pretty troublesome traveling to the centers where you had to do this in the analog paper way, and then go back later on to really pick up your visa physically as well. Then we take another important area, the health. The Healthline concept here in Bangladesh has become famous outside the borders of the country. The Healthline offers access to medical competencies in a situation where families have a long traveling route as an alternative. And of course, you can a doctor and medical competence rather than travel to and get your answer, it's good. Well, not necessarily all diseases can be cured in that way, but a lot can, and that's the main point. And here we can bridge potential gaps that are in the population where we know that healthcare services are scarcely distributed and could be better distributed also using technology. And finally here, global warming has a potential negative effect for Bangladesh given its geography. and to use technology also to understand the potentials that comes with climate changes over time is something that we should all be aware of. But it's also true that a lot of things has happened. But that doesn't mean that it stops here. Farmers in this country has had great benefits of getting to know the prices of their crops through digital connections. And also getting advice on how to run the most efficient crop. So a lot of things have already been done. But that doesn't mean that we're at an end when it comes to these new concepts. The garment industry and the manufacturing industry, as was pointed to, standing very strong also in an international perspective. And we believe, and that's why we have entered the relationship with Accenture actually, we believe that the potential of also running international processes for global companies out of the competence base that is in this country is possible. And it's a huge potential. But that requires a lot of infrastructure, and it requires a very determined both investment cycle and customers to be a little bit patient in the startup phase of such services. Because it's not only sufficient to say that we have a low cost level on our employment force, it needs to be organized and it needs to be professionalized according to international requirements for business process outsourcing, as we call it in the trade. And Telenor Group is willing to work with the capacities within Accenture in this country in order to utilize these capacities in our own group efficiencies initiatives as we started with Accenture. We believe this is a great potential. And that is where the vision comes around for Digital Bangladesh in 2021. There are two dimensions of that. One is ICT used inside the country to develop different sectors and different aspects of your own economy. But the potential of also building a new export industry on the same platform is really there. And if this seminar can address that and give a direction, set in energies into that direction, and energies and resources, then we've come a long way with this seminar, I believe. Telenor has a vision where we say empower societies. And I think the previous presentation before me, in a way, gave an example on how connectivity empowers people. That's a fact here, and it's as much as it is a fact back in my own country. You will find your example with kids sitting in rural Bangladesh participating in global service development is one example. Similar examples you find in rural Norway, a very niche-oriented manufacturing idea, find a global market through connectivity. So it happens all over the world. So we believe that the technology empowers society. We believe that it brings forward a potential. And people with initiative and energy, they see this potential and they start working at it. Some of them will be successful, some of them will fail, but hopefully it overall moves in the right direction. Empower societies, we've taken one step further. We say Internet for all. Internet for all is what is needed in order to get rid of the potential digital divide. And I'm happy to note that connectivity pricing in this country was as low as was described. So that at least creates an affordability level for everyone, and that needs to go forward as well. So in order to realize these things, the connectivity part, mobile internet connectivity, is very essential. And we have 2G and 3G. 3G is now roughly at, in the grabbing phone setup, roughly at 4,000 base stations. Roughly 60%, 40% of base stations today carry 3G. There are 9,000 plus base stations altogether. And in the coming 2 years, all of them will get 3G. So, and we are probably having the highest density in among the operators in this country for 3G services. But the next layer, 4G, is also important. And 4G is a very, very strong, actually stronger platform for for delivery of data services than 3G. But spectrum is important. And from the United States, we know that spectrum came around in one unilateral decision for the whole of the US territory 4 years ago. And it paved a tremendous way for investment to 4G. So crucial element here is access to spectrum. And the United States did that in one technology neutral decision and spectrum in perpetuity to the operators. And investments happened at record speed. In such a speed that today we can say that US is ahead of Europe when it comes to capacities and connectivity qualities, which was not the case 4 years ago. Difference is how you want to think about regulation on spectrum and how spectrum is distributed to the market. Healthcare, I think I mentioned this already. The birth rate and all the good figures on Millennium Goals, technology has contributed to that, because we are earlier on with the vulnerable for and the need for healthcare services. And I think that's a strong message. We've taken this one level further in grabbing phone in these days. We have a three-dimensional or three-layered service offering: everyday health, professional interaction, and advanced care. And we don't claim that we are doctors and can handle the medicine, but we can handle the connectivity for those that are capable and having those kind of. So together with qualified doctors, we are able to distribute this through systems in a different way. Education was mentioned. The online school, that's a concept that flourishes in many markets. Here in Bangladesh, we have launched classes, which have, in this case, exactly as was described. The teacher, the head teacher is not in the classroom. The classroom is organized rural, and the teacher is seeking actually another place, reaching out to more kids. It requires another set of how to organize the educational resources, so to speak. But the potential to reach out is very, very strong. Another example, the online desk. What's that? Have you heard about that? Anyone? Yes and no, maybe. The online desk is an internet community where young people can register their competencies. In many fields, also in that of software. And in Bangladesh, it's reported that there are 300,000 young people registered on the online desk, already contributing to ICT export from this country. And these people, they have probably found their way to online site by themselves and by needs, or by references and or by the General Telegraph, not through an organized process. The telecom space has created an industry over the last 15 to 20 years. Next year, we, Telenor Group, celebrate 20 years presence here. We've been a long-term investors all the time. We have brought new technologies and new investments and new modernizations year by year. We are almost 5,000 employees working directly for the company. Around us, there are people supporting the whole activity, maybe in sales and execution of this, as many as 500,000. And then you have the new business creation that comes with it, adjacent services that are building up, and then also the efficiency gains. So the contribution is phenomenal. I'm not claiming that this is only a Telenor issue. This is an operator contribution to the overall development. ICT comes because there is a competitive level playing field between operators that competes for services in this big market. And to conclude this presentation today, what does it take to move the needle forward on Digital Bangladesh? We can have a number of ideas what's needed. Now we have been speaking about the connectivity level as such. Well, that is about to build up, not only in this country, but in many countries, and it has happened surprisingly fast in this country because we are already at 99% coverage, which is not the case in neighboring India, for example. So what is then needed on top of this connectivity? I'll summarize that to, I mentioned the bold vision, Digital Bangladesh. If there is sufficient resources that jointly think in that direction, there will be results. Then governments must think in that direction as well when they are creating the framework for investments to happen. And then investors will ideally want predictable and long-term and sustainable framework. And we know that there are different and government thinking. But here we need to find these ways and balancing point that gives a sound investment climate for peace. Number two, predictability needs. If we're going to be able to establish an export article out of business process delivery from Bangladesh, we need at the bottom of this international connectivity as well. An international gateway that is very efficient. Global companies will not accept that their service is disrupted because of this and that event around an international gateway. And we are reasonably well equipped now because there are two fiber cable connections in and out of Bangladesh, which has reached this. But this will probably need to be extended if there is a success on building also capacities on business process outsourcing. And finally then, a competitive marketplace with transparent, what basically creates the best services longer term. Today we are in 2015. We were looking 5 years back, or 7 years back to 2018 in your presentation. Let's take 5 years ahead. 5 years is not very long if you look backwards. 5 years seems like an eternity if you look forward. But in these 5 years, a lot of things can happen. And if the energy, the resources, and the will to set the direction to digital Bangladesh within, say, 5 to 6 years, you'll be there, we'll be there, with a number of these good efforts and resources put in the same direction. So I wish ourselves good luck on that. There is a big potential, rightfully done. There are successes to catch. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baxis, for your most insightful presentation. And now I would like to request Mr. Zhu Zili, President of Carrier Network Business Group of Hawaii Technologies Limited, to come up on the stage, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Zhu Zili.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Sajib, Honorable Advisor for the ICT to Prime Minister, and Mr. Pollock, Honorable State Minister of ICT, Mr. John Baxas, CEO of Telenor Group, and Mr. Rajiv, CEO of 3&4, Bangladesh government official and friends. On behalf of Huawei, I thank for the invitation. We are honorable to share our global journey in digital transformation. Yeah, today my topic is better connect the world. The 4G network deployment has gone through rapid growth since launch in 2008. We are now at the third wave of LTE deployment. The first wave we can see it's the United States, the Japan, and Korea. It's the first wave, and the second wave followed by European third wave. According to the GSMA, more than 1/3 of the world population will have the 4G coverage. There are 360 4G operators in around 150 countries worldwide. Among them, over 50 LTE networks are deployed in 2014 alone. Most new ones are in the developing countries, including 16 in Africa, but 21 in Latin America. Let's take a look at Bangladesh today. We can see the mobile penetration in Bangladesh has exceeded 60%. There are around 50 mega data users, mainly are 2.5G customer. We have an example in China market. In China market, China has gone through similar growth phase not long ago. Industrialization brings opportunity. Millions of people from rural area are moving into the city, driving the urban development and modernization. The first phase, or our Huawei inside, we think the ICT will have a four phase. The first phase is the mobile transformation in 2G. In this phase, people are connected anywhere, anytime, primarily through the voice. So we can see it's a demographic dividend. But the second phase is a traffic dividend. The third phase we named is data dividend. And the fourth phase is information dividend. The second phase of the mobile transformation is based on 3G and 4G. People share idea and connect real-time business online. People started to realize the potential of the technology. A new breed of the digital service were emerging, like e-commerce, location-based multimedia, IoT, M2M. Such topic very hot for a global world. Even we engaged with a global operator. That resulted in the explosive growth in number of digital connections and traffic volume. We call this phase a traffic dividend. Many other neighbor countries are seeing the same trend. We experience the LTE rollout to increase the GDP of the country by 0.5 to 1%. It's also mentioned by Mr. Sajid. Yeah. That means at least $1 billion to Bangladesh in the year to come. Some have launched 4G service. For example, there are 3 LTE operators in India, and 3 in Indonesia, and 5 in Sri Lanka. The demand will continue to surge as the economic growth. For example, it took China 5 years for 2G to reach the first 50 million, but it's 3 years for 3G. Almost 10 months for 4G to reach the first 50 million users in China. The growth, the changed very quickly. We are excited to learn from Digital Bangladesh Vision 2021 program. We are looking forward to contributing to your 4G network deployment. Huawei's mission, our mission is to enrich people's lives through the communication. In LTE rollout, Huawei has learned many lessons and accumulated valuable experience. We have worked with over 170 4G operators, help them to build LTE and packet core network. Our customers spread worldwide, including, for example, Telenor, SoftBank, China Mobile, China Unicom, and China Telecom, and even more than 300 operators for the global market. In 2014, we shipped 25 million LTE phones worldwide. In China, Huawei since installed over 800,000 TDD LTE base stations, serve over 130 million users. We are confident that we can replicate our success worldwide in Bangladesh. It's our common goal that Bangladesh people may benefit from mobile transformation. This will strengthen its trade and export. For our friends, we suggest 2 steps to accelerate the LTE network deployment. The first is to start the issue the 1800 mega license. The second is to bring the data for 700 giga license looking forward. Later, but not least, I would like to take this opportunity to say thanks. Thank you for inviting us to share our story. Thank you for letting us to join your vision. Huawei not only passionate but capable in LTE rollout. Huawei has been a partner of Telenor since 2008. Together we realize an internet for all. Together we strive for internet for inspiration. Together we will achieve better connect Bangladesh. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Zili. Dear guests, we're going to take a short tea break now. Tea and snacks have been arranged outside in the foyer. We will start our next session at 11:50. We request you to be back in the hall by 11:50. Thank you.
Could you get Shaquille? আপনারা আমিরুল ভাই পিকটা নিচ্ছেন না?
হ্যাঁ, তারপরে কি করছেন? মানে এই সিমটা কিভাবে?
এটা হ্যাং আউট দিয়ে গুগলের মাধ্যমে
হ্যাঁ, সেটা বুঝছি, বাট ওই
লিঙ্কটা কিভাবে কম্পিউটারে পাচ্ছেন এই যে
এই কনভার্টারটা দিয়ে না, জাস্ট এই কনভার্টারটা দিলে অলরাইট, আর কিছু লাগে না। আপনার আমার কাছে এটা? সফটওয়্যার ইনস্টল করা লাগে, ওইটার সফটওয়্যার।
Well, I would say that we already had these.
the Digital Investment Summit. And now I would like to invite up on stage Mr. Giuseppe Giannelli, Senior Managing Director, Asia Pacific Communications, Media and Technology, Accenture, for his presentation. Mr. Giannelli.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to be here and attending this digital summit for Bangladesh. Let me start thanking the honorable advisor for the ICT, the ICT minister as well, and Mr. Frederick Baxter to inviting us as Accenture to this summit. I worked in Accenture in different mature markets and developing countries like Eastern Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Turkey. And today I would like to share our view and our contribution of Digital Bangladesh, focusing actually on three components, three very important ingredients: talent, infrastructure, and what we call digital enablers. Let me first introduce Accenture. It's a $30 billion company. Our service is pretty extensive, from management consulting to IT and business process outsourcing. It's truly a global company. Accenture doesn't have an headquarters, a physical headquarters, and we operate globally to serve about 75% of S&P 500 companies globally and local clients. We operate globally outside of about 120 cities, and we leverage what we call our global delivery network. So basically, across about 50 locations, we serve our global clients, and we operate at scale in different countries: India, indeed, Philippines, China, Latin America, Eastern Europe, and we are very happy to have added and integrated to our global delivery network, Dhaka and Bangladesh. We are very excited to be here today, and when we see at our business, we really think that Accenture is in the talent management business. And moving forward, we really believe that this is the most fundamental component of our business and any business, because we focus on developing and retain the best talent globally. And we today have a community of about 300,000 people. And maybe an example of real life is a personal one. I joined this company, for which I am very passionate still today after 20 years. And I remember that in my first engagement, I realized that each client, each project is a small company itself. And my supervisor was really the HR function, giving me coaching, objective, feedback, and rewarding at the end. So we really think that is the company culture, this intangible mix of values that over time is very successful in the future, and in the Accenture as well. Let me move to the topic of the digital economy. Obviously, the economy of smart policy and the private entrepreneurship. And the key theme that we observe today globally is this digital transformation. The digital transformation, especially for developing countries like Bangladesh, is a unique opportunity to game change and to leapfrog in a digital society the economies and the social development. In working across different countries, we observe that many components are relevant to develop such a digital economy. And some of them have been mentioned before. Clearly, if I look at this chart, this stack, and I start from the bottom, the infrastructure in this sense, the network infrastructure, the broadband one, is providing the basic connectivities and the high bandwidth for future services. And this is a fundamental component of, obviously, the digital economy. On the top side of the chart, what the digital makes very special is that the traditional boundaries of industries segment are really challenged by many players, many new entrants that applying digital technologies can change business model and entire industry. Think about the car sharing, having changed in the car industry in metropolitan areas like London or Paris. Or think about Google entering the e-health sector. So the industry segments are going to be different. And very important, what matters is really the focus by customer segment, more the boundary. So what is going to be relevant for a digital consumer? What is going to be relevant for a small enterprise? What large companies in specific industry vertical are going to ask for ICT solutions? And the role of the government, or we should say the e-government, is clearly very important to stimulate with government program the consistent development of the digital economy. So application will matter, different players will enter different dimensions, and innovation will be really coming from different parts of the industry. But the important element is the middle layer. What represent after the talent that I mentioned briefly before, the second key ingredient. So digital enablers and mobile network, many applications will develop. And we observe that the different countries, the first one who started many years ago have been actually Korea and Japan. Recently, we saw before Bangladesh as well, developing a digital agenda, digital roadmap of what are ecosystem tax payment for e-health is going to serve different industries